Welcome to our session, Smart Mobility, of course, at the CeBIT. And what's actually up in the pipeline? Everybody wants to know that. We have this most incredible car, as you might have seen, right behind this stage. And that car has got some secrets, as you can imagine. But before we talk about the secrets, I would like to get our guest on stage. First of all, we start alphabetically with Peter Fuß. Please, Peter, come up here. He's from EY Automotive and Senior Advisory. Then, of course, Frank Rinderknecht. Hi, Frank. Come up, please. This man is absolutely remarkable, but as you can see already, but you will find out what this guy has got up his sleeves. That is just amazing. And of course, Jean-Francois Tremblay. Where is he? There. Jean-Francois is EY Mobility and Automotive. No. In order to understand what is this car all about, we better show a little film, because that explains a lot. And then we go into a little discussion. We have a little bit time for that. We finish this session with the introduction of 3 finalists from Coden. Thank you for now, and check out this film, please.
Our life, the environment, and technologies are changing faster than ever. We all need to adapt. We all need to set new horizons and visions. Cars of tomorrow are fully connected and automated. They become an integral part of the environment. They respect all traffic participants. They'll be safe and they will be green. Routines are handled swiftly and easily. Men and machine are one. Our personal tastes and preferences are known. Innovative technology is securely reaching out to us. Portable devices are seamlessly integrated. Drivers are released from daily activities and gain time to work or to entertain themselves. Dangerous traffic situations are reduced, and this increases our safety. Fusion of sensors provides additional protection at all times. mobility also means comfort. Self-driving will be more joyful as the car supports us with all its senses. Mobility will change. So will we. We are facing the challenge today. My Buddy by Rinspeed.
My Buddy by Rinspeed. I think the man who faced the challenge, or the challenges, they are connected to the car buddy, is Frank Rinderknecht. Frank, thank you very much for turning up here. Before I ask you the first question, I need to tell the audience, because I talked to Frank about 45 minutes ago, and I said to him, how should I introduce you? And he said, I don't know, just call me visionary. And that might be actually the right description for Frank. Are you a visionary?
Well, basically, I'm really sorry, I need to correct you.
Oh.
I said I'm a visionary, but I'm also crazy. And I like to be crazy because...
Yeah, I wanted to be polite. I didn't mention crazy bit.
No, you cannot insult me, because I think there are too many normal people in this world. So I want to be one of the crazy ones, the one, in German you would say verrückt. Verrücken as a verb in German means, I just move. And exactly that's what our goal is with our cars, to make people think, to make a future tangible, so we can understand what maybe one day, 5 years, 10 years' time, will move us physically and mentally around.
So that was the driving force behind you and the team Rinspeed to create this car. You wanted to see how the future of cars and driving are developing.
Well,
is that the direction we are seeing behind the stage here?
This is true. For one, I'm really curious about the future. I think it's extremely thrilling. We are living in a time of so many changes. I'm not a digital native. I've been grown up with a typing machine. Now it's all digital. And I think statistically I will live through automated driving. So curiosity really is driving us. But we feel that one should be able to touch it, and I don't see cars as the only means of mobility. I see intermodular mobility combined with public transportation, combined, as we have shown it also in the film, with smart homes. That's really the big thing of the future.
Very quickly, Frank, the team Rinspeed, that is a conglomerate of many highly talented people.
Well, my philosophy is the one of outsourcing. I personally, for my job, don't want to be an administrator. I don't want to try to look for jobs for my people. That's why my core team within the company is very small. And then we partner up with great people around this world. We discuss what will be happening. And Peter Fuss, just on my right, is one of those persons with whom we try to really figure out how will technology change, and how must humans also change or adapt, or how do we manage their expectations of the future, and how we go about that.
And that brings me, thank you very much, Frank, for that. That brings me, of course, to Peter Fuss. As I said, Automotive Senior Advisory. Peter, we have got a car, which is not a normal car. How do you see as the senior guy for cars for EY? Is that the future? Is that how you imagine the future? And I'm not being ironic here.
It's not the future, it's the reality. Because it's not a fake.
It's there.
It's there, it's reality. And it's a showcase how the future of mobility could be. And autonomous driving, we are handing over the steering wheel to the machine, to our best buddy, because the name is Buddy, you created it. and body will take over the responsibility for us. We can relax, can read, sleep, do other things in the car. At the end of the day, it will have a significant influence also on future mobility as a whole, because that car could go shopping for us, could drive our kids in the morning to the school, could drive us to the office, and could do other things. And when you start thinking how this impacts our life and different business models, we may no longer need taxi drivers. Yesterday I had a group of taxi drivers around the car. I said, well, when I listen to you, we will have no job in 5 years. I said, yeah, that could be true.
And they were very happy to listen.
They were very happy, yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, it's a concept car, but it demonstrates with the current existing technology what is possible, and we will see how much of this will go into serial production over the next years.
So what is possible? Let me pick up on that keyword and go to Jean-Francois Tremblay. You are the Director Mobility Innovation for EY. Jean-Francois, you have seen that car more than once. You haven't driven it, I suppose. But is that what we are seeing, something that guides us into a direction of what the nearer future actually could deliver for Jean-Francois?
Yeah, I think it sets the parameters for us to understand what needs to be done in order to get there. So we need this in order to understand what are the rules tomorrow, right? The task ahead now is to make this real based on what we have in communities, right? So if I'm the mayor of a city and look at the technology, how do I react to this, right? How do I help the technology to be implemented? I think we need that technology, that vision, in order to raise the questions around, okay, what needs to be done in order to get there? This needs to be put into the already existing ecosystem. I think the transition is going to be very difficult because there are driving forces from all dimensions, not only the conventional automotive manufacturers who are afraid to become a commodity themselves, maybe become a tier 1 supplier themselves. What do we do with them and all the employees that work there? How does the brand experience for them remain protected? Yet this will take place. I agree with everyone. Now, how do we make this happen within specific communities is key going forward.
Peter, let me pick up on one little quote. I'm going to read this to you quickly. And, meaning this session here, follow up with a broader outlook on integrated transport and logistics systems. It's basically what Jean-Francois just touched. So a broader outlook, we are having a car that is reality, that is in the present, but it actually delivers far more because this is a construction, a technical invention, a fantastic car, but it tells us a little bit about the nearer future, like transport, not only individual transport, possibly also public transport.
Yeah, it's a much broader perspective if you start thinking about car sharing concepts. So transport of people without any driver, driverless car sharing. You could think about transport of goods. As I indicated, the car could go shopping, could take over logistical responsibility. You could start thinking, as we still have to take care for repair and maintenance of the car, so that car could go, him or herself, go to a washing station, to a repair station, to exchange the battery and many other things. So the whole logistic system may change and will change due to this new concept, assuming that autonomous driving will be accepted by people independent from legal and technical aspects.
Peter, you make me feel like a fossil from the Stone Age because I've got a geared car and that's already 8 years old. My car doesn't go shopping, but I mean, this is just a synonym for something else, that cars and the understanding of transport, certainly individual transport, and most of you guys, they have a car and they use it extensively, more or less. Frank, playing this question to you, is that what we see, something that goes into a direction which might need another 5, 6, 10 years' time? Or will there be elements of what is stuffed in this car already in use for new car production?
Well, you know, some elements are already here today. Connectivity, what we show in the body is happening today. We see strong moves by Google. We hear rumors by Apple that they want to come into the car industry. What does that mean for me? They see an interest. Their strength is software. They want to put more software, more connectivity into the cars. And the user, of course, already today ridiculously start to write emails, SMSs while driving, but you still should take care of what's happening around you. So that's something which really takes place today. It's also a big fight now. Who owns what in data? Who owns what in software? And when the rumor spread out of Apple coming into the car industry, you saw reactions from Mr. Zetsche of Mercedes, who said, well, for me, I personally don't care, to other people who said, please come on, Apple, we want to cooperate. So you get all the facets today. In my opinion, it's a power play right now to show strength. Apple could buy in the morning Mr. Winterkorn and his VW group, for lunch Mr. Reithofer and BMW, and for dinner Mr. Zetsche and Mercedes, and still would not owe $1 to a bank. So that shows strength, and, but at this time both need each other because a car still is a lot of hardware.
Now, of course, you made me curious. Did you get offers from Google and Apple, for example, for your car? If you can't say it, that's fine as well.
I know the people at Google very well.
They're looking at it very carefully,
everybody looks at everybody, sees how other people do developments, do thinkings. And it's, in a way, it's a little bit of a community, because I think the goal is the same. The goal, which is only happening maybe in 5 years' time on autobahns and in 10, 15 years' time in cities, is autonomous driving, redefining travel. Because today you want to arrive as quickly as possible, because then you think you can you can work in the office or you can watch TV at home. But with the change of mobility and autonomous driving, the journey becomes the essence. Why should you be 10 minutes earlier unless you have a date? Because you can watch your TV already, you can write your emails already. So it'll be a redefinition of mobility, maybe even a new challenger of the train here in Europe, because a car goes point to point and a train does not. But the train offers exactly those amenities, that you have somebody up front who takes care of the driving.
Jean-Francois, talking about redesigning traffic and developing a new prospect for the future.
Yeah.
Of course, we are not delivering weather reports here. We don't even know how the weather is going to be in 5 days. But there is something in that car that points into a direction of a complete change of parameters we know today.
I agree. Let's take a scenario, right? We now have 1 or 2 vehicles per household, taking a couple of people to work, school, and so on. What could happen with this technology is, in fact, you would need now 5 cars, because each of the family members would individually want to be delivered to their goals. So in fact, if we're not careful, we could create an even more chaotic situation than we have right now. Now we assume that the technology will be there to create some synergies where it makes sense. But initially, we are facing an interesting challenge here. Of course, things won't come in unexpectedly, it will come gradually. But we need to think about what are certainly the desires that will emerge from that new technology, which may cause some technical and infrastructure challenges we're not even aware of right now.
Peter, we might face some challenges we are not even aware right now, said Jean-Francois. How do we predict this? I mean, EY is actually into this, obviously. And, or when I say obviously, it is not something you probably have thought about 5 or 10 years ago, but now it's there. Or am I wrong here?
No, it's there, and as we have seen also in the video and in the current discussion here, one of the key elements which is necessary to get much broader, that we have autonomous driving. And this comes to one major challenge, independent from technical things, legal things. How do we, after 129 years, been polishing and taking care for a car, now accept that the machine, our best buddy, is taking over?
I loved doing that with my old Beetle I had. I loved polishing it.
You still can do it, but when we hand over the steering wheel to the machine, so how much failure tolerance do we accept for the machine? We are still killing people on the street. It's not the car, it's the human being. And the car now, we only want to have zero tolerance. So to get this change in mindset is key for the overall development. And the car demonstrates with the KUKA roboter arm that we still can decide on an optional basis, like an autopilot, whether we still want to do a joyful driving on the left lane or in the Swiss Alps, or stuck in a traffic jam where we hand over the steering wheel to the machine. That's a true game changer, and that is where we have to work on together with the automotive industry, with IT, internet companies, where we believe that we can showcase a very fantastic platform based on this concept car from Frank.
Frank, what is the next biggest town where you live?
Zurich.
Zurich. How many years will it take before you drive in that car in Zurich?
Well,
and get the ice cream delivered to your car and your hamburgers or whatever you want?
I guess maybe 10 years at best.
Is that all?
Optimistically, a year less, but could be also 2 years more. It really depends. I think the key is software. And the key is intuitive software. The key is learnable software, because if you address city traffic, what does that mean? Am I waving to a friend? Yeah. Would I want to say to a car, go on? How do you interpret signs, gestures, and movements of people? And this makes it very complex. And this you need to master as well as a human needs to master it.
You could also select a city and say, I want you to be my champion city within the next 2-3 years, and say, let's get rid of all cars and try my concept. You, mayor of this city, right? So get into a special agreement where you could deploy that in a very micro manner.
But difficult this is in your urban surroundings, that you have cyclists, you have pedestrians, you have all sorts. You have an UPS which just stands in the middle of the road and unloads. So these are all situations, even us, sometimes we have a hard time to figure out what we should do. And today, I think the software is not yet ready. The sensors are, but the trick is to know what it means, what the sensor sends or what they see, and then make the correct decision. But then, as Peter mentioned, and I always try to package that in a little story. For example, you loan me your car because you're a nice guy. I make a dent. What is your first reaction? You shout at me. You say, Frank, how could you? And you're angry. Second reaction, you say, Frank, pay insurance. And maybe 2-3 days later, you'll say, well, after all, you know, he's a human being. He's a nice guy. He wasn't drunk. It could happen. Now, your autonomous driving car is making a dent. Are you shouting at Mr. Winterkorn, at the programmer down in India someplace, or the car dealer? Towards whom are you addressing your emotions? The payment will be, of course, handled by a different insurance, product liability insurance, but most importantly, at the end of the day, will you say after 2-3 days, well, after all, it was Monday morning, bits and bytes were a little bit tired or upside down. It can happen to a machine. Would you say that? I doubt it.
Frank, you said at the end of the day, we are at the end of this session, and I just would like to remind you we have 3 startup pitches coming up in a few seconds. First of all, Frank Rinderknecht, thank you very much for turning up. You said you are visionary, or I said you are visionary, and you said you are crazy. I wish we would have more crazy guys, but I think there are quite a few on this CeBIT here. Huh? Peter Fuß, thank you very much for coming up, and Jean-Francois, thank you too.